Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 3rd of October. And there you have that beautiful rise all the way back from the early buys that we had, all the way down here below 2,400 and going all the way through. We were expecting 2025 as the most recent target, and we've just taken that one out the other day. That was perfect. Where was our close? Go ahead and mark it right here. 25.2775. So just cleared it. Got a little overbought within that, but it was off of a brand new buy setup. But look at the shorts all the way down to here. That means that brand new setup for them to be able to reactivate at new highs, but they're the ones who propelled things to where they are. As we can see, was building into the setup with the reset where most people would just consider everything overbought. We were looking at the market at its highs saying, no, it's oversold. That's the huge difference between oscillators that get stuck. Now, NQ, still behind, just barely getting to the peak. Nothing you can do about that. You know, we had the horrible situation in Las Vegas, but didn't seem to impact the markets at all at this particular point. It doesn't have any broader implications, just in a horrible human tragedy. The euro fading a little bit is important at this particular point with the market reaching highs because we're still not back into the range. That would have to be all the way back down here. So it still has a little bit further to go, but this elevation certainly bolstered things as far as the S&P goes. And TLT is going to remain weak and should get weaker, particularly since it still looks like the economy is improving enough that there's going to be just even the slightest amount of inflation, despite the Fed saying there isn't any. We all know that they don't really measure what people actually pay for stuff, but the market a little bit sharper than that and can figure it out. Retrace back in the oil, not too big a shock. It got way out of hand. We saw the short signal come in right over here when it was making new highs and then finishing down below, and then the gap on that short. We have a reset of the short-term buyers on it though, so it may not be too long a prospect lower. We did dip below the red line, so there's still going to be some more weakness, but right on the ABM green, so right in line with where we would expect a little bit of a retrace to come to, and that's just going to really depend on in those cases, you know, supply and that, but the reality we're looking for is there increased overall usage, which indicates expanding global economy, and that's an important aspect. And gold continuing to fill back in. We talked about it coming back to retrace, dip below the red line right over here. And when it gets there, then we will check and see if we've got any new buy configurations. Not at this particular point. And there was the intraday chart. We had this going all the way back from, which one do we have on here? I just have the, it's the algo test. Which ABM do we have? DOH, there it is. We had, I think we have to shrink this even more because the buy signal came all the way back over here on the reset and has pretty much just followed it. We finally had a little bit of a breakdown intraday within these short configurations that actually led to a little bit of a decrease. Actually got down to the short algo for the first time, but immediately turned around and from that point shot right up to the full 2025 target, which is what we were looking for. Don't have a new one at this particular point because I think we probably need to come back just a little bit and oscillate right around here. But if I have a new one that shows up, we'll certainly put it out there. Imagine we're not going to be jumping around too much. We just ended up with this was a sort of an unfortunate one where we had the Starhawk and the Ironhawk came in. The averaging of the two created a break even, but if they were traded individually, they would be looking for the returns that we're seeing right about now. We ended up with another Rainbow Hawk at that particular point when it closed those out, which was successful to this move, and then it added another Starhawk. We can go ahead and take a look at the performance report. That's what the equity curve is. We're close to getting right back to the equity highs on these most recent trades. This year was much better than last. This Fed manipulation, you can see it when there was no interaction, not a problem, but then as things started to increase and we really got active with the Fed really starting to impact things, it's really taken a toll on the amount of mean reversion, which is what this program was always based on as being one of the more effective models for capturing big returns. This is the other version, just a little bit different on how it calculates. Not a whole lot of difference, but enough to produce slightly varying returns. A little bit less activity on just one entry, unless it's a real positive reading setup. But a little bit higher win rate, and we're about the same, fewer trades though, overall. And all going back to the same period, that's back 2003, so we're talking 15 years of action, so quite a bit, almost back to new equity highs, so we'll be looking for that as it continues to plug away. As always though, continue to look for me on the Skype chat. Several neat little changes making to the ABM inputs. There's going to be some more to follow that will continue to enhance when it resets, so that we get these nice singleized entries that allow for maximum size returns, and particularly on a short time frame, and that's the key. We can extrapolate that to broader time frames, 50K, or even daily charts, or even time charts, then it really becomes powerful to utilize. But this was an easy run all the way, from the 2480 range, which we were talking about, and then expecting to go well over the 25 and then the 25.25. So all good from that standpoint. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk to you later.